Last year, Donald Trump spent months as a candidate threatening China over its trade practices and what he called unfair trade practices, and then spent months when he got into the White House threatening a trade war with China. But it's the last 30 days or so that really changed the game. This was the moment a trade dispute became something much bigger.
The
U.S. is provoking this trade war, and we do not wish to fight. But in order to safeguard the interests of the country and the people, we have to fight if necessary.
China retaliated with tariffs on $34 billion worth of American imports after the U.S. did the same. The world's two biggest economies now hitting each other with duties on thousands of products. A month on, both sides are suffering the effects.
We used to pay just 24% tariffs for U.S. pork in China, but now the taxes have risen to over 50%, so there's a great impact.
U.S. companies like GM that build vehicles in China and then bring them home to sell are also worried about the bottom line. And farmers are also suffering, their exports to China drying up after they were hit with steep taxes.
This year, when our soybeans are harvested in October and November, we anticipate that we'll have no sales this coming year to China, that we won't have any just because of the tariffs.
And yet that hasn't stopped President Donald Trump rallying his base by telling them,
you know what our farmers are saying? It's okay. We can take it.
But if farmers are struggling, U.S. investors, while rattled, seem to be coping as the U.S. posts strong economic growth. The main Dow Jones index has even climbed higher since the trade war started in earnest a month ago. So we can see there that farmers and other exporters and importers are hurting from this. But consider those figures there aren't really that big when we consider the value of this trade relationship. Imagine what will happen if it's escalated. Trump is pushing and poised to impose additional tariffs on $200 billion worth of Chinese imports, with China poised to retaliate in the same way with some tariffs on some $60 billion of U.S. goods. There are back-channel talks going ahead, Asya, and the suggestions that formal talks might continue. The problem right now, though, is that China denies these unfair trade practices. And the other problem is Donald Trump says to his base, tariffs are working for the U.S. Asya.
All right, Owen Fairclough, thank you so much.